and let us all do we can to build a better future. So the Joe Rogan show recently had an interesting conversation. Now, Rogan was once quoted as saying he didn't want to talk to Trump. He didn't feel like it was necessary to have him on the show. On the one hand, I could see it. Hey, look, Joe Rogan can host his show any which way he wants. However, I think it's important that we have a conversation about really what it means going forward about, talking about politics. I'm going to keep it real with you guys. Look, I want to interview Dr. Cornel West again. It's going to be my responsibility to be covering the Chicago Convention here in 2024. I mean, the DNC is coming to Chicago. It's going to be a big news event. Now, I know how you all feel about the Democratic Party, and I agree with you, but it's a major news event, and Hard Lens Media, we are in Chicago. The Libertarians are third-party candidates, third party as well. I want to interview their candidates. I'm not going to agree with them, but hey, they're running for office. Not the first time I've interviewed Libertarians. And look, same thing with Republicans. We have yet to have a Republican on the show. But, even though it would never happen, given the opportunity, interview Trump. It's Show Running 101. So I want to pull up this video here. And let's talk about it.
No one is going to run against Trump in the Republican side and win, because you're not going to get the Trump supporters. They are all in on Trump, unless he has a stroke, unless something happens that's horrible. They're all in on Trump. If you run against Trump, you're now the enemy of Trump. If I was friends with DeSantis, I'd be like, don't do it. You can't beat that guy. You just can't. When that guy gets out there and he's waving to people and they're going crazy, you're not beating that. There's and the fact that he was the president for 4 years and the country was in a great economic situation. Yeah. And it looked like his policies were actually effective, and that it looked like the unemployment was down, all business was building, regulations were being relaxed, more things were getting done. When you look at it from a policy perspective, if you just look at it on paper, what he did was effective. A lot of people think it was effective. You don't like him as a personality, so you ignore that. Don't do that. Look at it in terms of a policy perspective. People liked the ideas that he was putting forward.
Look, I got to push back. I mean, again, it's 50-50 how you look at it. I mean, I think a lot of people were more engaged in politics when Trump was in office. I think that's how I would probably word it if given the chance. Trump got people to be more actively involved in politics, which is why I say he was the biggest job producer for the social justice warrior industrial complex. Many people were talking about social issues. But again, everyone was about resisting Trump. But Trump put an ugly face on everything, because for years we've had both Democratic and Republican presidents put a smiley face on the horrific neoliberal policies that all of us have been living under for decades, starting with Ronnie Boy Reagan, Old Man Bush Sr., Horny Bill, George the Fool Bush Jr., Barack Obama leading us from 2 wars to 7 and getting rid of habeas corpus, and continuing under Biden, putting a fancy neoliberal smile on everything. But Trump was different. He did tell the truth. It was harsh and disturbing. And what do I mean by Trump telling the truth? Well, Trump, when asked why are we in Syria, he told the truth. We're here for the oil. That's all. We're here for the oil. Now, any other president, Reagan, Bush Sr., Bill Clinton, Bush Jr., Obama, and Biden, what are they going to say? Why, we're there for freedom. We're there for human rights. Why, we're there to make sure that justice and peace happens. We got a peacekeeping force to ensure that there's going to be peace. Trump just said, we're just there for the oil. He told us the truth. Hell, he told us the truth during the Republican primary of 2016. I give these people money and they do what I say. When confronted about if the system's rigged and corrupt, he said, yeah, you people don't get it. This whole system's corrupt. And when confronted by it, he said, how do you know that, Mr. Trump? He says, because I've used it. He told us the truth. The only president ever. Now, it may not be something you don't want to hear, but you're going to have to live with it.
And now you're saying like, oh, the wall is raised. Now the fucking everybody thinks there needs to be a wall. Even the mayor of New York City is now calling to stop immigration into his city. And this was the guy that called it for it to be a sanctuary state. When the reality of what your policies, what kind of actions you put forth, what the results of that are, and those results are highly negative, you're forced to sort of recollect your thoughts and come up with a new perspective. And that's what the mayor of New York City is doing right now. When you just look at what Trump's policies were, and then obviously COVID hits, there's a lot to that, the lockdowns, the economic collapse, all the shit that came with that. None of that is good. And then Trump holds up this like hope to bring us back to where we were when he was in office. You're not going to beat that. I don't think they're going to beat that. I don't think when you look at the Russia collusion, when you look at the Steele dossier, when you look at all the bullshit they tried to throw at him that we now know is bullshit, not just bullshit, but coordinated bullshit. When you look at the fact that they suppressed these Hunter Biden laptop story and that 51 intelligence agency representatives signed off on that to say that this was Russian disinformation, which they know is not true. That's scary because now you have the intelligence agencies colluding to keep a guy from being president that was president during a time where the country was thriving economically. You're not going to beat that guy.
Would he get your vote?
He'd get my vote.
Now, look, I also want to add in something here too. It's a Republican primary. I really have no idea why Baron Vladimir Harkona, Chris Christie or Nikki Haley, that's not her name, or DeSantis, the Disney fighter, are all trying to run against Trump. Because again, all those people, Donald Trump, just a heads up, man. Beware of all these yes people you surround yourself with, because they're all opportunistic individuals. They're parasitic. They're not going to stand a chance. We've covered on this show how Republican voters, how they want to vote. And Trump resonates with his supporting base. What did Trump do differently than Bernie Sanders or the Democrats as a whole, or even the Republicans? He keeps his movement alive. He's a showman first, and he knows everything about show business. And no, this isn't an endorsement of Trump, but I will not underestimate somebody who is that charismatic with a voting base that will turn out en masse for a rally of his, that will show up in solidarity. He has 75 to 80 million diehard supporters. They want Trump. You think this indictment's going to hurt him? Think all these times he's been impeached, not once but twice, hurt him? No, that made him popular. You think Chris Christie, Nikki Haley, or DeSantis can hold a candle to that? They cannot. They cannot. And if you're a supporter of them, guess what? You're going to learn the same lesson you learned in 2016. You're going to lose. And if Trump is not the nominee, guess what? Republicans, you're not going to get a high voter turnout. You're not just going to replace Trump. It's as simple as that. I'm going to be surprised. And I will say live on air, wow, I didn't see Donald Trump losing a Republican primary. I'll say it like, okay, I guess Republican voters want something different. But everything I'm seeing on social media, all these rallies, how Trump kept together his movement, I'll be surprised if he loses. The evidence is not there. Everyone's saying, oh, this is it for Trump. The walls are closing in on Trump. Here's what happens with the walls closing on Trump. Trump builds a ladder, climbs up on the next floor. That's it. That's it.
Excuse me. He'd get my vote before Biden. I said that before. I don't think that I never thought that Biden was going to make it. I never thought that he was going to be functional. Regardless of what kind of power the president actually has. And it appears under Trump, the president has a lot more power than we think they do. But under Biden, it's like he's handled. Like he's just out there talking and the real problem is Donald Trump. Donald Trump, what he's done is terrible. He did in the office. It's all nonsense. It's like everyone's treating him with kid gloves because they don't want to prop up Trump. They don't want to go after him because it'll weaken the Democratic Party.
So when are you having Trump on?
I don't know.
You got to have him on, Joe. I'd have to tune in for that podcast.
Okay. The
I
look
don't know. Maybe.
looks like you got something.
Maybe.
Okay, good. That's good. I think that's.
Look, at a certain point in time, it's just like it would be interesting to hear his perspective on a lot of things. I would like to know, what is it like when you actually get into office? I would like to know things like what is it like versus perception?
Yeah.
What is it actually like when you get in that building? Like what are you greeted with? When do you know that people are fucking with you? When do you know that the intelligence agency is lying to you? Like when you decided to fire Comey, what was the thought? How much did you know? Like what's the machine like? What is the deep state really like? Really like? Because we have all these, smoky room perceptions, like from the Bill Hicks joke, where they show you the Kennedy assassination from an angle you've never seen before. What is the machine that runs this country? Because it's very clear that it's not as simple as elected representatives that are doing the will of the people. It's not.
Now, I do want to bring up this video here because it is interesting, because I want to play a little bit more of Joe Rogan, but I want to play up this video here. Never forget that this is the woman responsible for Trump's impending indictment in Atlanta. Let's play this, because again, look, Trump can walk away from this.
Personally want to hear from the former president.
I wanted to hear from the former president, but honestly, I kind of wanted to subpoena the former president because I got to swear everybody in. And so I thought it'd be really cool to get 60 seconds with President Trump of me looking at him and being like, do you solemnly swear? And me getting to swear him in. I kind of just thought that would be an awesome moment.
Again, I want to pull up more of this video right here. A Joe Rogan episode with Trump. Let's play it.
So when you're having Trump on,
I don't know.
okay, the look
I don't know. Maybe.
looks like you got something.
Maybe.
Okay, good. That's good. I think that's.
Look, at a certain point in time, it's just like it would be interesting to hear his perspective on a lot of things. I would like to know, what is it like when you actually get into office? I would like to know things like what is it like versus perception?
Yeah.
What is it actually like when you get in that building? Like what are you greeted with? When do you know that people are fucking with you? When do you know that the intelligence agency is lying to you? Like when you decided to fire Comey, what was the thought? How much did you know? Like what's the machine like? What is the deep state really like? Really like? Because we have all these, smoky room perceptions, like from the Bill Hicks joke, where they show you the Kennedy assassination from an angle you've never seen before. What is...
And that would be funny if they said, Mr. Trump, here's what's going to happen to you. This is the Kennedy assassination. Like, so I could dodge bullets better than Kennedy. I'm willing to bet that's what Trump said. Try it. I could dodge. I can move so fast you won't believe it. Probably afterwards when they showed that video, geez Louise, we had Bernie and Obama crapping their diapers in 6 seconds. Trump isn't biddable. See, I think what the problem with Trump right now, why he's getting all these legal issues, is because he also surrounded himself with people who were associated with the Bush Cheney administration, and they thought that Trump would be just like Bush Jr. That's what I'm willing to bet, which is why you see a lot of establishment Republicans going against him.
Is the machine that runs this country, because it's very clear that it's not as simple as elected representatives that are doing the will of the people. It's not.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to seeing you and Trump together.
You keep pushing that.
I think.
Okay. Hey, let's have democracy in the chat. Type 1 if you think it's pointless to have Rogan interview Trump. It's nothing. Just be another day. Type 2, no, the internet's going to have a collective seizure. People are going to be crying. Liberals will be wetting themselves. Dogs and cats living together. It'd be madness and insanity. It'll be opening up all the 9 gates of hell.
Okay, I'll tell you from my perspective, like on why you ought to consider it when you do it. I'll just give you my
okay.
Just so you know, he and I don't speak. It's not something that is like, hey, his camp saying go in there and do this and do that. No, I've never interviewed the guy, so it's not like I'm lobbying for it. But I think if, when you think about sports or you think about fights, what is the boxing world if Frazier Ali never happens, right? What is the UFC world if DC John Jones doesn't happen or Khabib Conor doesn't happen? And they're both at their peak and those fights don't happen. We can go on with sports, with baseball, with, interviews of Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jackson. You go look at, some of these things.
He's not wrong. It's earth-shattering. It'll be an earth-shattering interview. It's every showrunner's dream to have the interview. And listen, vote blue no matter who. Whether you like it or not, Joe Rogan has a universally popular show across many social media outlets. I know vote blue no matter who. You bent yourself backwards and stuck your head up your own wazoos to try and cancel Rogan, and it didn't work. I could say this from being part of this kind of business, especially on social media. If Trump were on Joe Rogan's show, it would be probably one of the most monumental moments in internet history. This isn't up for a discussion either.
Things that happen with Larry King or her and, a bunch of different guys. He's a guy that's probably the most misunderstood by a side, and a guy that.
How do you think he's misunderstood? In what way?
I think the media has really painted this guy to be evil. I like to talk to people I fully disagree with. And I think they're delusional in certain areas to understand, what makes you believe what you just said.
Right.
I don't understand what you just said.
Right.
Tell me how you could be that convinced you're right. Right.
Right.
Cenk was on the podcast yesterday, and Cenk is convinced he's a better businessman than Trump.
Oh, it's moments like this I wish Daniel was here right now. Oh, my God. Okay. Oh, my God. Wow. Okay. I remember on the show 2020, Daniel really broke down Cenk's business ethics. I got to get Daniel on the show. I got to get Daniel back on the show for that. Holy cow. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Hey, Cenk being a businessman. Okay. So, look, this has been brought up before. Okay. Let's talk about Wolfpack. Wolfpack hasn't done anything earth-shattering since 2015, okay? We also got to talk about Justice Democrats. That's an organization that failed, Cenk. What about Rebel Pack? That's a thing that failed. TYT taking $20 million of Katzenberg cash. Since then, TYT has seen a decline in a lot of its talent and people. Remember the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse? Those journalists, those 4 people? Michael Tracy. I forget the woman's name now. You had Jordan Sheridan. And, oh my God, who's the other one? He went by a nickname, Talcum X. What's his name? Hold on, audience. I need you real quick. Live stream audience. Who was it? Live stream audience, quickly. Anyways, when they tried to do those 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, $2 million spent on those journalists, and before the year was over, canceled, gone, done. Yeah. And not to mention, look, I know that Trump has gone bankrupt, but here's the thing. He survived all of his bankruptcies, and he's still rich. Yeah, Nomiki. Thank you, Octalash. Nomiki and Sean King. Those are the other 2. Those are the 4 horsemen. Sean King, Nomiki, Jordan, and Michael. And, yeah, $2 million gone, right? And that was done with regular people donating $2 million, right? $20 million of Katzenberg cash, then all the other side channels gone. Cenk's a better businessman than Donald Trump. Okay, yeah, Donald Trump went bankrupt, but he's still rich. And when Hillary Clinton yelled at him and said, "Hey, you don't pay your taxes," what did Trump say? It means I'm smart.
I mean, how could you say something? But he's convinced. And he says, no, he's a loser. Trump's a loser. I said, dude, what do you mean there's only 2 things he's won in his life? I said, there's only 2 things he's won in his life? Yes. Yeah, there's only 2 things he's ever won in his life. And this is the second time Cenk and I having a conversation together. Politically, we're on very different sides. I'm just trying to find out, why do you think this way, right? And he says, yeah, only 2 things. He's a great marketer, and he did this. I said, first of all, 15 years, apprentice. Good luck. Go do. No, he had great producers. I don't care if you have the greatest producers in the world. You can hire.
And let's be clear, The Apprentice was a very popular show. All right. The one time I think I'll side with Donald Trump for The Apprentice, even though he wasn't, it wasn't an episode on The Apprentice. For those who don't remember Top Gear, there was a bastardized American version of it. And I hated that show. And they had an episode with Donald Trump. And Trump just eviscerated all three of the hosts. It was the funniest thing ever. One of the rare moments where I'll be like, Trump, everything you said about those three people was correct. And this isn't a political analysis. That's just me being petty. For those who you don't remember American Top Gear, don't. It's something that should never come into existence.
Any producers Joe has, and go try to match Joe's numbers with podcasts. Yeah, because it's his producers. No, it's a lot of work. 15 years. Book, how many years does Art of the Deal does? Well, yeah, but Pat, imagine if you started with $430 million. You would have been richer than him today. I said, $430 million. What's this $430 million? He got $430 million. Are you like counting in today's money versus, well, it's estimated this. Okay, he got $1 million. He got 14 million. No problem. He got family money. I'm willing to make the case that you are more likely to screw up your life if your family gives you money. He says, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I said, so I went and studied. I got 4 kids now. We're going, we've done estate planning multiple times, but now I just sold the insurance company. So I have to sit there and see, what am I going to be doing with some of this money that came out of nowhere? Goldman, Morgan, estate planning. Do we do this? Do we do that? Let's go study it. We put our research team, go find out who did it right out of all the families. Okay. The Medici family, 7th generation, they kept the wealth within the family. What are they doing? And boom, 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 boom. Great. Vanderbilt family, the money lasted 1 generation, maybe 2. Like when, Anderson.
Hey, isn't there a guy named Anderson Cooper who's with the Vanderbilts? It's true,
And Cooper's mom's like, look, we're Vanderbilts, but you ain't getting nothing. You got to make your own money, right? Okay. The Rockefeller family, they're at 3 or 4. Okay. We can go through all these families. Most of them that get a lot of money, the kid becomes a what? Drug addict, drug dealer, spoiled. They don't work. They're not this. They're not that. Right. Okay. So let's just say he did get the money and he still doesn't do drugs and he doesn't do alcohol and his vice is women and he works his ass off in business and he makes it where he makes it to. Yeah, it's very easy to make the argument that actually if you do come with money, it's a harder life than a person that doesn't get money. To have that drive and ambition, not necessarily it's a harder life to have that fire, the ambition that, you can't teach that.
I see where he's coming from. I would have worded it differently, but if you're given everything, well, you're not going to push forward. And I've met people who have been given the world and did nothing or destroyed themselves. It's very uncomfortable to look at. And I've seen people who have nothing have the fire and drive to go forward.
You either got it or you don't have it, right? Okay. So then we go into politics. So let me get this straight. This guy wins in New York. He becomes a billionaire. He wins on TV. He's won with women. He's partied with everybody. In 1988, he's doing an interview with Oprah Winfrey. And Oprah Winfrey says, hey, you sound like you're going to run for office. No, I have no interest. But if I ever did, I'd win. Okay. Then he runs. Everybody thinks it's just a marketing deal that he's doing. And then when he wins, I don't know if you remember when he walked on, he's like, even him himself, they were kind of like surprised. Babe, we just won.
Yes. And we're going to stop there. We're going to stop there. You can check out the rest of the interview on social media. But look, Trump, I think, was surprised that he won too. Because if he wasn't going to win, he was going to create his own media network that would rival Fox News. To quote the Joker, Donald Trump became the dog. He caught the car. He won. And he very well could win again in 2024. I will be surprised if he doesn't win the Republican primary, and I will not underestimate him, especially in the general election of 2024, should he get the nomination. And case in point, also talking about, being from a wealthy family. But Trump's got his problems, and yes, he has his vices. We all have our vices. But, there's another presidential family, the Bidens, where one their own has been given the world and clearly has a lot of issues with, illegal substances, alcohol, women. Nobody's perfect. But I won't underestimate Trump. I won't. And the thing is, he does have power. And I would have to say, I would like to see him just to see the internet have a collective meltdown. I would like to see him on Joe Rogan's show. And I think Rogan, there's a cost and there's a benefit and a cost of having Trump on your show. I mean, the blowback towards Rogan would be monumental from corporate media. But at the same time, too, I mean, Rogan has had RFK Jr. on his show, Tulsi Gabbard, Bernie Sanders, Andrew Yang, AJ, first name Alex. I think you know who I'm talking about. Something with the water and the frogs going something. You know, he's had a lot of controversial guests on his show. Trump would be a huge lightning rod, but it'd be no different than anybody else he's had on his show. And I would like to see it, just to see people have a meltdown. Because looking at this, it's quite clear Trump's not going away. He ain't going away. This happened at a wedding. USA! USA! Trump crashed a wedding. USA! 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 USA!
I heard so much about this couple.
I heard so much about this couple. They're awesome. They're great. I hope you have a great wedding. It's going to be huge. Head spinning. Everyone's saying USA. I wasn't expecting it.
The bride is totally beautiful, and you're even more beautiful.
Yep, there you go. That's Trump. Listen. He's popular. Vote blue no matter who. You're not going to stop him. You're just not going to win. It's just not going to happen. And I think this indictment, he's going to walk away stronger than before. I'll be surprised if he doesn't win. I'll be surprised if he doesn't make it. But it is what it is. And the thing is, I want to see that Rogan Trump conversation. I think we all might learn something. And I just want to see the internet kind of melt down too, because it's funny.